I'm honored to share the stage today with Jared Reed, the producing artistic director of Hedgerow. Jared is the third generation of his family to take the leadership role at Hedgerow. Jared graduated from Juilliard in 1995 and spent 10 years acting in New York and through various theater companies throughout the United States. In 2003, he founded the Hedgerow Theatre Company in West Philadelphia, and that organization is still thriving today. He took over the reins of Hedgerow in 2017. Jared, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
What was it like growing up in the theater as a child, and how has that influenced your leadership today?
Well, one of the special things about growing up in any profession, so I like to sort of joke that I've grown up in a family of plumbers, but it's sort of craft, if you will, that I have generations behind me who were able to teach me along the way, and so it's been a very special thing, certainly as an actor and as a theater maker, to have years and decades and being actually the third generation leading Hedgerow, but fifth generation as a theater maker. Wow. So we have a century of history going behind us about things that are going on. And so to have that history in something you love to do is a wonderful, uplifting thing that makes everything a little bit easier in an art form. It makes it a little bit easier to get something done because you know that people that you know and respect have done it before, and you can draw on that knowledge. And so I've enjoyed it. I'm glad that I have that history.
That's wonderful. Well, besides you, generations have grown up with the Hedgerow. We're coming upon your 100th year anniversary in the near future. How has this community of Rose Valley in particular, and the broader community around the area, helped support you and the Hedgerow?
Well, I think you said it with generations coming. We have, right now as we talk, we're running the Christmas Carol that we've done for 27 years now. There have been generations of children who have performed on the stage for it and are now bringing their children back to see it. And we're talking about grandparents and children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren in some cases who are coming back to enjoy particularly this show. But I know that when we say hello to people out in the lobby after the show, people will come up and say, gosh, I came here on the blind date with my wife 40 years ago and saw Susan Weffel, who's still in the company now, but playing the older parts now, but she was the young woman then. And we've become a part of their lives. So we are something that when they want to think of, gosh, I want a pleasant memory, or I want to think of how happiness happens, they go, oh, let's go over to Hedgerow.
Wonderful. So, this community of Rose Valley, it's a very special place. How does that interact with the theater, or the connection between this artistic community that started in 1901 and what the Hedgerow is today?
So I think one of the special things about it, and so I'll digress a little bit to when I was in New York and I would job into theaters around the country. You'd job in, you'd do the show, and then you'd leave. You'd have no connection to the people that actually saw the show. And so one of the special things about this is that we'll do the show at night and we'll meet the people who saw it the next day. As they're walking by, as they're walking their dogs, as they're walking around Rose Valley, they'll wave and they'll say hi. They'll say, hey, I really enjoyed this show. I liked this one better. And they'll tell you why.
And they'll let you know.
And they'll let you know, but they'll let you, I'm not meaning it in a sort of weird criticism way, but you're having a conversation with people that's larger than just a single night. It's, we're talking years of people saying, oh, I've enjoyed these shows that you've done, these kinds of shows you've done. I don't like these so much, but I still come to see them, and they're expanding and broadening me. But I like so you're having a conversation about artistic things that they're having as well, that the audience is having. And really, it's only the Rose Vallians who get to have that because we're their backyard.
What is the role of the audience in theater in general, and
Sure.
and how does that help
So
You provide a better production, a better service.
Theater cannot exist without an audience. So as an art form, unlike writing a novel, I can write a novel, I can put it in a drawer, it actually exists. I can paint a picture, it actually exists. But unless theater actually happens in front of an audience, it doesn't actually exist. This is true of any performing art, but I think theater being certainly the one that I love the most, because I think it brings in all the performing arts, it brings in movement, it brings in sound, it brings in writing. So I think it's a perfection of all of these, because you get all of the experiences. And I think that, so for an audience to get that, all of their senses are being touched at all the time. What happens then is that you end up, you're in a room together for the 2 hours that the show is, and you create the story there. Now, yes, it's the same sort of each night, but when you're talking about this space, which is...
The audience changes each night.
The audience changes each night, and when you're this small and this intimate of a house, the nature of what the show is changes, not dramatically, but enough so that some people go, wow, I think that was the greatest thing I ever saw, and other people go, it was okay. No, and I don't mean that weirdly, because you're seeing something live. You're seeing something that must change and cannot be set in stone. And what the audience brings to it, we often, backstage, will talk about how was the audience tonight. Oh, they were really into it. They were really there. They were quiet, but they were intelligent about it. They were paying attention. So it's an interesting thing. They're another player when we get on stage. They're another actor there. And the thing you make is all together.
How has theater changed over the last few decades?
Theater is undergoing, in general, a sort of a shift in that how we teach it in schools right now, and what we're teaching in schools right now. Theater has sort of lost a bit of its sort of cultural primacy. But theater has been going through this for 2,000, 4,000 years. It's always gone through this, because it's constantly adapting to what the needs of today are. And so,
what are the needs of today?
Well, so there's a great question. What are the needs of today? I think what we're seeing in audiences is a hunger for community, is a hunger to be with people in public. And so I think this is certainly in the digital age, where it's very easy to sit at home and not have to interact with people, but we're still human beings. And so we still want to be around other human beings. And so coming out to the theater or the orchestra or the ballet or what have you, these are places where we're able to be around other people, but we're able to share something, but I'm safe in that I don't have to have an active conversation with a stranger or something like that. But I can if I want. I can say, what did you think about the show? And we see this all the time here, where strangers will start talking about the show, the thing they've experienced, and to what we would say the thing that they've created by being here.
Your audience interacts a lot with themselves.
Absolutely. They do, and we think it's a fabulous thing, and we really enjoy it, hearing them talk to each other. A fun story for the Christmas Carol that we just did. One of our bits for when the ghost appears, some man was heard saying, as the thing happened, was heard saying, "Well, that's my nightmare tonight." And so the entire audience laughed at this thing, and they all shared this together. Right. This live thing that happened.
Certainly not scripted.
Certainly not scripted, but I love it.
How do you bring new people into theater in general and Hedgerow specifically?
We are talking to people live a lot. We'll go out to restaurants or to fairs or to libraries, and we'll have our postcards and our business cards and things like that. And we'll basically have to say to people one at a time on a grassroots level, this is why this is important. This is what you're missing. And most people who take us up on it go, you're right, I've been missing that. I need that. So yeah, once they're here, it's an easy sell.
But you got to get them in the door.
But we got to get them in the door.
Yeah. And are there any other types of outreach that you feel still need to be done, or how has social media changed the way that you reach?
Well, social media, yeah. So social media is a rapidly evolving ecosystem of who knows what in this instance, Facebook is going to be 5 years from now. So it's hard to go, oh, well, we'll put all our eggs in that basket. 5 years ago, Facebook was great for young people, and now none of the young people are on it. They're on Instagram and TikTok and all of these things that in 2 years will be gone. Right. Do you know? So the idea is really trying to figure out what people are desperately seeking are connections with each other, and a digital form is an easy, cheap way to do that.
Do you find the younger generation is hard to get that connection or get that interaction, or is that actually who's hungering for it?
I think that what they're hungering for are authentic connections, authentic experiences, because they've grown up with digital their whole lives, so they know how ephemeral it is. Okay. They know how not real it is. So what they're hungering for is, can I go and have a real experience? And what we're seeing with the younger people today, what they really want more than anything else is to actually be a part of the experience. So I think that's probably a place that theater is going to move more towards, is having even more of the audience participatory part of it.
Yeah. Now, you also offer a school program through Hedgerow.
Yep.
Can you talk a little bit more about how that program operates? What do you find the benefit of, and what does it do for Hedgerow, and what does it do for the students?
So there are multiple ways that that our theater school functions. I think the one that we're most proud of is that we're using theater as a way to teach kindness and creativity and problem solving. It's not a program where we're going, gosh, we want to make professional actors. Right. That's an individual's sort of path. What we want to do, though, is use theater so that lifelong friendships are made, so that people learn how to deal with a problem kindly and not in a competitive way. Right. Which you can't, sports does that sort of thing. So you can have, team sports do a great thing in that, but it can get competitive. The thing about that we certainly teach here is the idea that everyone together is making something. And so that's the real benefit. And then we find that for us as an ensemble theater company, which means that a few of us are making most of the stuff here, and we bring in people from the outside to keep us fresh and alive, but we're able to teach that well. And by teaching it well, you get better at it. Because if I'm able to actually say, well, this is what makes moments on a stage happen between people rich and alive, then I can go back and go, oh, I should learn from my own teaching. And I should do that.
Now in the summertime, you also have youth programs.
We have youth programs all year, but summertime we have our 2 show classes, and we have 3 more during the year. And they're very popular. And then we have also weekly classes in the summer that are just wonderful little creative classes for pirates for a week, make a mystery for a week, whodunit and things like that. And that's really for kids who don't really want to be on stage, but they do want to be creative. So that's what it is. And then we have our outreach programs.
A little bit more about your outreach program.
So the outreach programs are when we go to schools or clubs, and we either bring, let's say, tales from Edgar Allan Poe or Shakespeare or things like that, or we'll bring, right now we've started, which we're really proud of, our anti-bullying program, where we're going into schools and we're using theater to teach kids, hey, there are other ways to behave besides anger.
Interesting.
And those are going really well, and we're really proud of those.
And that's public schools, private?
That's public schools, private schools, boys and girls clubs, libraries. We go all over with that. Yeah.
Now, you're the oldest repertory theater company in America. Is that a fair state? Repertory may not be the right word.
I think it's fair. We could probably even say longest serving.
Longest serving.
The other ones have sort of dropped away. We were certainly not the very first that happened. But we are, in some ways, we like to say that we're the oldest resident repertory. So the other ones, you would go to a town and you'd do the rep and you'd follow around and go where. But to be in one place and do it is unique.
Got it.
And that when Jasper Dieter started it, that was his dream and his mission.
Was to have a home.
Was to have a home. And to be in a place, much like Will Price and the craftsman movement here, was to be able to be in a place where craftspeople could make their thing and people could come and experience it.
So if you were to share with a stranger who knows nothing about Hedgerow, what makes this place special?
The connections between human beings, and that is something that is hard to get quickly. And what we get here is when you put in the time,
Right.
you will be rewarded.
If you put in the time.
If you put in the time, yeah. You will see a work of art that you will be able to, and the work of art, by I mean the entire Hedgerow is that work of art then. So it's not just a production.
Gotcha.
So it's the entire, I'm going to use this as my cultural oasis or my cultural center, and I will be able to then have an artistic conversation with life that spans my lifetime.
Wonderful.
So I would say that.
Okay. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for taking the time to learn about one of the best institutions in Delaware County, Hedgerow Theatre Company. And look forward to the next Delco Diversions in the near future. Have a great day.
This Frank.
It is not. Spirit, it isn't that! He has the power to render us happy or unhappy.